Hi everyone, welcome to the Power Platform User Group Nigeria and welcome to the Ask Me Anything section where you get the opportunity to ask your questions and you also get the opportunity to listen from different Power Platform professionals in the community as they describe about different careers in Power Platform and also what is Power Platform. So I and Amara are the host of this section, today's session. And if you have any questions, please drop it on the comment section. Thank you very much. Hi, Amara.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the AMA session today. We are really glad and happy to see you guys.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so if you can check on the comment section, we have the link to the last Ask Me Anything session. So don't forget to go through it. It's very educational. You need to go through it. Yeah. So our special guest speakers for today are Vicky, Victoria, Oluwatobi, and also Omolola. And right now we have our two guest speakers who will be asking different questions on Power Platform. So hi Vicky, hi hi Toby.
Hi.
Hi everyone.
Yeah, thank
Nice
you.
to meet
Okay. Yeah. So they are both Power Platform professionals and don't be scared to ask your questions. Yeah. Thank you very much. So please, if our speakers can introduce themselves so that we can know more about them.
All right, I'll go first. My name is Victoria. I'm a business applications developer, a Microsoft certified professional, a Microsoft certified trainer, and a Microsoft most valuable professional in the business applications. So, what I do is automate business processes using the Microsoft Power Platform. It's a pleasure to be here, and I look forward to learning new things. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi Toby.
Hi everyone. I'm Oluwatobi Isu, for short Toby. Some people call me Power Platform. All right. So I'm a Microsoft MVP. I also lead the business process for engineering team at AXA Mansard. And like I tell people, what I do is that I advocate for low code. I preach the gospel of Power Platform and tell people how they can solve problem leveraging this particular toolset, which we'll be doing today also. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Toby. I think we are going to go ahead to the questions. And for those of us who are just joining, today is a Ask Me Anything section. And if you have any questions, please don't forget to ask your questions on the comment section. And that is the reason why for this. That is the reason why for this section. So the first thing we are going to go into, the first question we are going to go into is going to be, especially for our listeners, maybe this is the first day you are hearing about Power Platform or you are curious about what is Power Platform. So if Toby, please, if you can explain to us what is Power Platform, different types of Power Platform, and different real life examples of what Power Platform has debuted with. Thank you.
All right. So starting from the start from the basis, what is Power Platform? You can I thought we just search on Google, you'll see a lot of definitions. But if you ask me what is Power Platform from my own perspective, from my own angle, I'll tell you is a toolkit, is a tool set you can use to solve business problems. But to break it down further, when you get Power Platform, just know you're hearing more like a family name. It's just like you have, people by their base surname, and surname is like a family name, right? So the same way with Power Platform. So it's more like a family name. And under the Power Platform, you have different components. Some people would say different children, some people give you different names. But you have what you call the Power Apps, you have what you call the Power Automate, you have what we call the Power Virtual Agent, you have what you call the Power Pages, and you have what we call Power BI. And all of these five come together to form what we call the Power Platform. So Power Platform, like I said, is like a family name for these five. But now breaking it down to all of these five I mentioned, I'll start with Power BI, which is quite popular. I really don't start breaking what it does for you. But for those that haven't heard about it before, Power BI is basically or is for leveraging or building, it basically anything when you get data, just you get Power BI by the side. So you get Power BI, you get data. So for data visualization and your data analysis, you leverage your Power BI, and Power BI gives you that functionality, right? To build, to show insights of your data, to analyze your data without having to code much, without having to write all of those scripts you would have written. You are leveraging things like Python. And it's a very, very big platform, and it's actually been, it's expanding. But that's just an overview on Power BI. If you want to learn more, I'm sure we'll drop materials. Moving on to the next one, which is Power Apps. Power Apps, just like you can hear power, then you hear apps. So that apps, application. So the same way for building applications, business applications, right? Enterprise applications that solve business problems. That's where you leverage tool like Power Apps. It comes into build. And you have the Canvas app, which allows you to build a low-code app, that is low-code. And you have the model-driven, which is a no-code, low-code, it allows you also code. At least I know there's a part you can come in with JavaScript for developers. And if you want to build without having to write a single line of code, Power Apps and model driven would work for you. Then moving on to the next one, which is Power Automate. Power Automate is like we hear from the word also, power and automate, automating business processes. For this one, I like giving a very practical example of a real time or real life scenario that happened to me. And this was during my IT when I was in 400 level. And I think this was 2018. Yeah, 2018. And I went to this place, I got the internship. So there's this policy, where you come in, this onboarding process rather, where you come in, they take you through several trainings. And that training was ethic for me. Why? Because I needed to move through different floors, and I was waiting for someone to come and sign paper. Right? It happens in school a lot of time. So I came in, they did the training for me, like security training. I needed to get the approval of the HOD, but the HOD was nowhere to be found in the compound. I got a signature after a couple of days. Then I went for another training, which is HSC, Health, Safety and Environment, just to get the signature of that. It was another problem. And you can't blame these people because the number of times they're out, in meetings, having an engagement, all of that. They might not be in the country. But how can we solve this problem? That's where Power Automate comes in, right? With automation, where you automate all of these processes, once I'm done with that training, from my phone, right, from my device, laptop, phone, whichever one you use, I can request for the approval, and the HOD from wherever he is, whether is abroad, is in the country, is somewhere else, is in another office branch, it can sign. All you need to do is just to click on an approve button that you'd have done already. And like I said, all of this is low code, right? I'm not writing codes like that. So it clicks on the button from his mail or from Microsoft Teams, inside his Teams chat, right? Click on the button, he approves it, and on my letter, I have his signature appended, right? Without him having to start carrying biro, looking for pen, having to print paper, and all of this is just easy with Power Automate. And that was a real life scenario, but there are a lot of other use cases which we will talk about as we take a deep dive into this topic. Then I mentioned Power Pages. So when I talk about Power Apps, I'm talking about building low-code application. Power Pages can be likened to Power Apps, but in this case, you're building more like a low-code website, right? And all of these, like I said, you're not writing codes. And so some of them you can do without writing code, but some of them you write just little lines of code. And one good thing I love about Power Pages, especially being one of the newest, or being the newest, is that you can sync together with your developers. So now you have some developers that have written already some codes. You can work together with them, right? And get their code and bring it in. And all of those, and just edit what they've done, and you have your website up and running for you. All of those without writing lines of code. Then moving on to Power Virtual Agents. I'm sure a number of us might know what they call the chatbots, right? You would have encountered them when you reach out to services like your network services provider. Or those chats that respond to you. A very good example I know is Leo from UBA. So there might be other bank one that you know about. So all of those chatbots, those things you talk with, it helps you provide customer services, and it's 24/7, unlike where you have someone at a desk waiting for a call, all of those times. And sometimes all of these questions are repetitive questions. Like someone comes and asks, how can I do this? And you will find out that some of those questions, are being asked over 10 times in a day. It's not relevant, or it does not make sense to have one person just sit down to listen and start answering the same thing over and over again. A chatbot can come in here to help your business, where you deploy a chatbot and your customers can come and chat with that chatbot, talk to the chatbot, right? And provide the answer. Now, someone might be asking, okay, Toby, what if the problem that we're asking this chatbot is more than the chatbot? Then there's a place for the chatbot to escalate to the customer service agent, a human being. And one good thing about Power Virtual Agent is there is a place that easily allows you migrate all of those things or all of those conversations you've had with the chatbot. At the point of escalating, it takes all of this conversation and send to the customer service agent, so that you don't need to start asking the customer service agent again, or the customer service agent doesn't need to come and start asking you again what you said or repeat what you said all over and over again. I'm sure you've had issues like that with your network service provider, where you had a conversation with somebody, you call back, somebody's asking what's your name, what's the issue again. All of those is being eliminated with the use of chatbot. And now Power Virtual Agent have made it more seamless, where you can leverage chatbot without building or writing codes, right? Or writing low code. Then finally to the last one, I talked about Power Pages, I talked about Power Apps, Power Automate, I talked about Power Virtual Agents, and I've talked about Power Pages. Actually, I've talked about all 5 of them, but that's just a summary of what each of them do. And all of these can solve business problems. All of these are being leveraged by every one of us on this call to solve business problems, to improve the productivity of a business. So I hope I was able to answer that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Toby.
Thank you very much, Toby. So for our next question, it says, how can someone with little or no coding experience start learning Power Platform, and what resources can they use? So any
All
of
right.
our participants can go on with that. Thank you.
We're lucky to have Microsoft's documentations, and we have a lot of them, with respect to learning and starting the Power Platform journey. So, for anyone that is interested, we have Microsoft Learn, and Microsoft Learn is a detailed course. Yes, I'll say it's a detailed course that would allow you start the journey. So for Power Platform, we have the Power Platform fundamentals, and that's PL 900. So you can just do a search on the internet, search for PL 900 Microsoft Learn, and start the journey. You'd have a detailed experience and a beautiful experience learning. There are also other resources of people in the community that has decided to help you one way or the other in growing. So we have a lot of resources on YouTube, on we have a lot of blog articles here and there, and we also have resources on our YouTube channel. So this is also a resource. We have other resources on our YouTube channel. So if you're interested in learning, you can start with the Microsoft Learn, and after you're done with that, you or while you're still going on with that, you can also check out YouTube rather. And yes, that's a very good way to start. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry. Okay. I think one of the question I have next is I think there are different people have a lot of questions because Power Platform, when it's being defined or being talked about, it's talked about as a low code, no code platform. So especially on building of applications. So what are the advantages of the tools in Power Platform, and what is the limitation compared to using traditional coding languages to build solutions? Hi, Lola. Hi, Toby. Yeah.
All right. Hi. Good evening, everybody. Please confirm that you can hear me clearly. Am I being heard?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Awesome. Thank you. So, First, let me start by saying apologies. I won't be able to put on my video, right? But that is not spoiling anything. So I'm just going to go ahead and answer the question. So you talked about, the question you asked is about limitation and about the advantages here. So first, I'm going to start from limitation. So what are the limitation to learning Power Platform? Now, limitation to learning anything at all is the same all over. Not understanding the concept. So say I want to start learning Power Platform now. One limitation that you would actually have, the same limitation I had when I was to start Power Platform, is what is actually the concept of Power Platform? What kind of solutions can I actually solve with the Power Platform? What challenge is the Power Platform actually trying to solve, right? So when Toby was talking, he talked about all the components of the Power Platform, the Power Apps, the Power Automate, the Power BI, Power Virtual Agent, Power Pages. So first thing you need to understand, right, as somebody coming into Power Platform is what are basically what's the concept of the Power Platform and what are the solutions that I can actually use the Power Platform to solve, because there are some things you might not actually be able to use Power Platform to solve. So that's like the first thing. So if you don't know that, if you don't understand that, you would actually get lost, right, in the Power Platform ecosystem. Okay. So should I go ahead with the advantages?
Yes, please.
Okay. So now that we know that, okay, the first thing you need to understand is the concept, the kind of solutions that you can use Power Platform to solve. What are actually the advantages? Why shouldn't I just go ahead to pick, say, a JavaScript, or since, we can actually build applications with JavaScript, why can't I just go to JavaScript? Why can't I just use Python? Why am I actually coming to low code? Number one is time efficiency. So when you're using the low-code applications or the Power Platform ecosystem to build, you build faster than if you're going the traditional route. That's one. Number two, there are a lot of people that when you're learning the Power Platform is actually, when you're learning traditional coding, right, you get lost because I wouldn't say it is difficult, right? Because nothing is actually simple. That's just the truth. I wouldn't try to, sell Power Platform to you and tell you, oh, it's simple. No. However, the codes in Power Platform, when you start solving very complex solutions using the Power Platform, the codes in Power Platform is in English. So because it is in English, it is readable. So it is easier to understand than when you go the traditional coding route. So this is it. If you're a Power Platform developer, you're a developer. If you're a traditional developer, right, say JavaScript and all of the other codings, you are also a developer. The difference is just the platform or the tools that you are using to develop, right? So if you decide to go the Power Platform route, which is why we are here today, it is faster. You don't actually need any prior understanding of programming language to actually jump into it. Once you start, because it's friendly, it's in English. Say I want to just move to another page. If I'm writing, I will say navigate. It's basically in English. So if you understand English, then you would understand how to actually work with it. All right. So that's like the advantage. So I'm going to pause here to allow other speakers to talk.
Okay. Thank you very much, Omolola. Do we have any of our speakers have anything to say on that particular question?
Okay, well, just to drop anything on that, I think Ola has done justice to that. Just to add, I would say the advantage of the platform or the Power Platform, right? Whether for application development, for automation, and for whatever you would want to use the tool to do, I'll say it's limitless. Because originally, when I joined the platform, there were 250, roughly 250 connectors, right? Yeah, something around 250 plus connectors, but I think they're less than 300. But now we have, I'm not sure of the statistics at the moment, but last time I checked, I know we had over 920 or 910 connectors, right? And what does it tell you? And I started my journey with the Power Platform sometimes 2021, and this is just roughly how many years, right? And the connectors have more than doubled, right? And this is just telling that the platform itself is growing. So yes, we might say, oh, well, when we started off, I might have said, oh, this was the limitation of the Power Platform at this time, right? It could not be used for this. But looking back now, there are new things in place that allows you to do amazing things, right? That allows you, build solutions that and makes it really seamless. Before this year, there was nothing like Copilot, right? There was nothing like Copilot. So meaning someone coming to learn the Power Platform needed to learn from scratch, needed to use Microsoft Learn, needed to go through the documentations and things like that. But with Copilot is like an AI tool that allows you to learn by the side. That is, you can be learning at the same time, building efficiency or building alongside with your Copilot. So the Copilot is more like an assistant, like a PA that works closely with you to do things, to solve problems, to build applications, right? And different things like that. So my point is the limitation of I won't say there is nothing it can do. I won't say it can do actually everything. But what I'm just telling you is that the functionality or what you can do with the Power Platform is actually limitless. It's how big you can think. You'll be surprised that things you feel you can't solve, right? If you really look deep down, or you look at a lot of documentations or things that people have put out there, you would say that you can actually solve them. So once you can think about it, you just need to work towards it, and I feel you can build it with the Power Platform. Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to add one more point, and most of us in our organization use the Office 365, and we actually don't use it efficiently. The Power Platform is an add-on to Office 365, and in most organizations, rather than paying so much to automate a process using the core development languages, you can use the low code Power Platform to automate those processes, and you don't have to pay so much. So that's cost efficiency. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Victoria. So, please confirm you can hear me. So, the next question is asking. Okay. So the next question is about the industries. So it's more like what industries or sectors are currently leveraging Power Platform technologies, and how can beginners tap into these opportunities?
All right. So I would say I'm not sure there's a particular sector or industry that is leveraging it the most. Every industry or every sector actually uses the Office 365. It might not be every organization in the sector or in the industry, but every industry and every sector. And as a beginner, you don't even have to be a developer to start your journey. It is a low code platform. You can be in the HR department, account department, and decide to automate your daily processes. So not there's no specific industry that leverages the platform the most, none that I know of. And every industry, every sector actually does or make use of the Office 365. It might not be every organization in the sector, don't get me wrong. And for anyone that's willing to start, you can start from where you're working. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. So does any of the other speaker have something to say concerning this question? Or so we'll move on. We're moving on now. Rachel.
Okay, thank you very much, Amara. The next question I have to ask our speakers concerning certifications, because a lot of people out there, they have so many questions on certifications. Okay, I'm learning Power Platform. So what certifications am I supposed to take as a Power Platform developer, especially to show that I have this particular skill. I know Power Platform. This certification is showing that I know Power Platform, especially when applying to jobs. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So let me just take this, and I'll also bother a little on the last questions. I'll just take the two together, right? So first, I'm going to just reiterate some things, right? Which is going to be, let me just say, part of the things people who are joining or who are currently on this call, and let me just assume that I don't want to just talk about people that are already working in a place. So right now, I'm talking to people that want to join the Power Platform, and you're looking at who or where to actually start from. So of course, before certification, so I want to join the Power Platform. What should I do? Where should I be looking at? Number one, the best place to start, right, is actually from the Power Platform, from the Power Platform itself. So the way the Power Platform is actually designed, there are trainings embedded in it. So I'm saying this because when you want to join an organization, even as an intern, right? So there are times I'm opportunity to interview interns. You ask them, what are the trainings you have taken? What are the things you have done? The platform itself has trainings embedded in it. So aside from the fact that you use the platform to build, you also use the platform to learn, right? That's one. Number two, you should look out for internship. So internship actually cuts across so many organizations. So there are organizations that are actually consulting firm, right? They would bring you in as what? As interns. There are organizations. So part of the things you should look out for, organizations that are consulting firms. We have a lot of them in Nigeria. I can just mention a few. There is Reliance Infosystem, there is Velvet, there is GoToSolve, there is Hashem Limited. That's just part of them. There are banks that actually employ Power Platform now. There's Sterling Bank. There are other banks that actually use Power Platform. There are oil companies that use Power Platform now. I can mention a few of them. Chevron uses Power Platform. Axela uses Power Platform. So all these organizations, you just need to check. So what are the organizations in Nigeria that I can enter as an intern? I have done 4 projects from the Power Platform. How can I enter this as an intern? Now I need a certification. What certification should I be looking at? So I'm going to start from the foundation. I'm just starting, or I've done few projects. What is the next step for me to look at? Number one, the first thing you should look at is PO 900 certification. So PO 900 certification is a foundation now certification for the Power Platform. It will take you through all those components that Toby mentioned, right? It will take you through all of that, and it will also test your knowledge. So Victoria mentioned some platforms that you can use to learn, like the Microsoft Learn, which is actually the University of Power Platform, yeah? So when you take, say, a PO 900, it shows, if I look at it, I'm like, oh, this person already has the understanding of the whole Power Platform. Once you take that certification, you will know the things you can use Power Platform for. You will know that, okay, Power Platform is speaking to organization, right? You will not be trying to build an app and put it on Play Store, any of that. So you already have the foundation that you need. Now, when you are done with that, you can now start building on it. Okay, so when I'm done with this, I need to actually strengthen my app development. So you need to start looking at things like PO 100. All right, PO 100 really talks about app development. You will now understand different kind of app in depth. Okay, this is what I use. These are the use cases for for Canvas app. These are the use cases for model driven and all of that. So if I see somebody that has taken the exam of PO 900 and PO 100, so I know that, okay, this person has good knowledge of app development, right? So those are the certifications that you should start looking at. But if you're already an AGBA, like all the people that I have on this call, Amara, Toby, Victoria, you will now start looking at PO 200. PO 200 is for functional consultants. You look at, you understand licensing and all of those things. You start looking at PO 400. So I'm sure the AGBAs on this call, right? So PO 400 talks about Power Platform development, right? When you start integrating other things, the Power Platform with other things, right? That's what the PL 400 is about. Then there's PL 600, which is solution architecture. It talks about the architecture of the whole Power Platform solutions. So depending on the level that you are, that would help you, or that would inform you of the certification that you should take.
Thank you very much, Lola.
Okay, the next question, I think that's for Amara. Hi, Amara.
Hi, Rachel. So the next question is going to be on the demand for Power Platform developers compared to other areas of technology. So what's the demand for Power Platform developers compared to people who use JavaScript, or JavaScript developers and the main or core developers?
All right, I think I would take that. Okay, so for the demand, I would say it's increasing. All right. Years ago, at least when like Lola is calling us Akbar, if I'm Akbar, I don't know what I'll call people like Babatunde and the rest. So we have people that have been in the industry before, myself, Lola and Victoria. And during that time, I'm sure there was nothing like Power Platform. I think Power Platform is roughly like 7 or 8 years old on its own, right? So meaning before that, there was nothing like Power Platform. So even when it came in, that is when we started having Power Platform, there was nothing like Power Platform developer. So even fast track to when I joined, during the time I joined, you rarely see Power Platform developer role. You only find very few. In short, people will be asking you what it is, right? But now, just go on LinkedIn. Just go on LinkedIn. It's a task I'll give to everyone. After this call, just go on LinkedIn and search for Power Platform developer. You would see a lot. Even streamline it down to Nigeria, you'll still see a number, right? And what does it tell you? It tells you that there is growth in this field. So I'll to be real with you, the demand might not yet be like other core languages, that is other core programming, but this itself is fast growing. So I'm just explaining to you, it's fast growing. So years ago, you hardly even see any role like that. I'm moving back to some years ago, like 2 years ago, you only see very few roles. But now I receive, in short, I even receive calls, right, from some organizations asking that, oh, please can you recommend people with these Power Platform skills, to come to our industry, because we need to solve problems and we need people that can leverage this skill. So it's actually something that is fast growing, and it's something that will keep growing. That's the truth. With the new, things coming in place like the AI, the Copilot, right? It's the demand is actually going to increase with time. So my take for you is jump on it right now so that you enjoy the benefits. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Toby. Thank you. Rachel.
Okay, thank you so much, Amara. I think we have listened so much from our speakers on different questions, and we're also noticing from the comment section, we also have a lot of questions from our listeners, which will be coming to very soon. But we are trying to answer questions that we think that most of us here have. So the next question I have to ask is that when being a like someone who does not have any experience with Power Platform, or maybe they are trying to break into tech, and they are looking for job opportunities. So how can they showcase, what projects can they showcase to companies to tell them that, okay, this particular skill, I have it, I know Power Platform, this is what I can do and this is what I can do. So how can that happen? Okay.
I think I'll take that. I was thinking my senior colleagues would take that because I feel they have more experience with that. Okay, so for beginners, right, that have no experience or looking to come in, right, which kind of project? So I would say the project is tied to the kind of role you are looking to come in. First, like Lola once mentioned, I would strongly even advise you, if you're already working, all right, you can start building and solving problems from where you are. So you're already maybe working in the HR, you're working in the finance department. Look at where you are. There are some automation, some solutions, some applications you can build from where you are. right? But for someone that is new, they're trying to jump into in all of this space, I would say you should target. So you are looking at projects to build. You should target the kind of organizations you are looking to solve those problems for, right? So you're looking to solve a problem around, or you're looking to get into a power platform role in the oil and gas. I've once worked in oil and gas, and I was doing power platform, right? Actually, there. So when Lola was actually mentioning some examples, that was pointing at me. So, and there is power platform there in the oil and gas field, right? They solve some problems there. So look out for solutions or problems those people have. So don't limit yourself. To look out for problems they have and build a project, your project yourself, right? It doesn't have to be a real life project. It can be a demo project. It can just be a project you just build on your own tenants, right? But build a solution, that is, build a project that speaks to that problem. So that when they call you for interviews, I guess we'll still get to that part. But when they call you for those other parts, right, or call you for that role, you can talk about that project you built, and you pitch that project to them, that this project you did, you believe you can even solve, some of the issues they have in that. But or you're looking at the finance, institution, maybe the insurance, you're looking at the banks, right? There are issues these people face at the moment. You look out for those problems they face, right? And you build a project around. There are a lot of places you can get projects to build from. There are a lot of examples online. If you go to people's GitHub, like April, like Raza Durani, you see some tasks they've done, some projects they've done that speaks to business problems. You can pick that up and build on your own. And when they call you for interview, you can talk about this project, that this is what I've done, this is what I've done, this is what I've built, I've solved this problem, I've solved that problem, I've done this. Yes, it might not be, like I said, it might not be a real time, but talk about it. Tell them what this thing can push, they can do to the organization. I'll tell you that job is actually yours, because they already see someone that's coming to solve a problem. Thank you.
That's a very knowledgeable answer, Toby. Thank you so much. And from the rest of our speakers, do we have anything to say about showcasing our skills to the companies we are applying for?
All right, so I'll just add this. For anyone that is still learning, trying to get into places, one of the things I've noticed is you telling your story and blowing your trumpet yourself. Now, some of us might be wondering, oh, for Power Platform developers, low code developers, we might not be so convenient and very cool with using GitHub. Now, one other way you can tell your story or blow your trumpet is writing a blog or a LinkedIn post about the applications you've worked on or the solutions you've built, just telling us a story of what you have done. You can have a screen recording and analyze or write the problem your application is solving. This way, you get to showcase yourself to the public and also get people know about you. So telling your story yourself and blowing your trumpet yourself is a very good way to put yourself out in the public, and it will help you stand out in the crowd. Now, I'm not saying that everything you do should be online. No. What I'm saying is you have worked on projects, no matter how small the project is, what problem is it solving? Do an analysis of that, a research on what would happen, or yeah, an analysis. Okay, if we are going to be using this solution, this and this and this is what we are going to be cutting. We'll be cutting costs, we'll be cutting data irregularities, we'll be cutting all that. You can do the analysis, do a LinkedIn post or write a blog about that, and this would allow you stand out. This would also allow you be made popular in the world, in the recruitment world. And these days we see that when we're applying for jobs, they ask for our LinkedIn post, LinkedIn handle. When we share that, recruiters go to check. I hope I've been able to add something to Toby's point. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Victoria and Toby. So moving on, we would like to know the day-to-day activity of a Power Platform developer and the kind of challenges you experience or you guys experience during your day-to-day activities.
Okay, let me go first. So, for me, I work with a consulting firm, and aside automating business processes within my organization, I also have to automate business processes for clients. So, I what my job entails is, one, listening to customer requirements. So customers will come and say, okay, we have this process, we do it this way. We want to convert it from doing it the traditional way to automating it. We don't want to reduce the number of paperwork in the organization. We don't want to be carrying paper around and all that. So they tell me everything. Sometimes they say it with their mouth, and we tell them, okay, can we have this documented? The next step is to draw a chart. Okay, this is where the process will start from. For example, let's say it's a leave request. When a staff requests for leave, okay, let's the approval request go to the line manager. If the line manager approves, if the line manager rejects. So we do all that in a flowchart. I'm sure, okay, not I'm sure, most of us did flowchart when we we're in primary school. So yeah, we do that in a flowchart. And the next step is to analyze how or the best way to solve that problem. For me, I would have to decide, okay, how many users will be interfacing with this application? What is the possible level of data we'll be expecting? This would allow me decide how the application will be built, if it is going to be a Canvas app or a model-driven app, if the database is going to be SQL or any other database. So I have to analyze all that. Then the next thing is, okay, now that everything is completed, I know how the solution will be built. I work with a design team, so I don't design my applications myself. I would now have an interactive session with the design team and explain how the process is supposed to work. So design team would come up with a design and development to start. So that's like the end-to-end process if I'm automating a business process for a client. Now, sometimes in the organization I work, I see day-to-day activities. I'm like, no, we can't be doing this. How do we automate this? So I don't just go and say, okay, let me start automating. No, I speak with my bosses and say, okay, I'm looking at automating this process. This is what I think should happen. This is what I think should happen. I work with a team too, and I report to a team lead. So I can communicate with my team lead and say, okay, this is this. I'm thinking of automating this process. We brainstorm together and we get that done. So that's my day-to-day work. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Victoria. I don't know if Toby and Lola would like to say something about it.
All right, yeah, let me just say one thing. So one issue that most times I face as a Power Platform developer is I'll just say customers changing requirements. And now, because one mind that I really, really want to put in anybody that is listening is that there's no really one way to develop anything that you are developing, right? So one thing that you need to know very well, right, as a Power Platform developer is the business process. So you want to develop something for a customer. How number one, you need to first understand the business process, then how best, because some customers might not even understand their own problem, right? They might understand their problem, but they might not exactly know what they want or how exactly they want you to deliver that for them. And that's where you come in, right? So you come in and you deliver something. And when you now deliver what you have delivered, that is when they will now tell you that, why not add leg to this thing? Please, can you help us put 2 ears? No, let us put 4 ears. Now, what does that tell you? That as a Power Platform developer, business process over even how to even write the code. The first thing you need to know is, what do I want to solve? How can I help this organization make this better? So one problem you would always face as a Power Platform developer at times is requirements can change. But one way you can stand ahead of that is, what if they ask you something that, for instance, Victoria can develop a leave application, Omolola can develop a leave application, Toby can develop a leave application. You can watch Razor, watch Shane do projects, right? When it's time for you to do your own project, the processes can be entirely different. So one thing you need to understand, and you would always face, that's the problem you'll be thinking about as you are going home, as you are coming back, is business process. How can I understand this business process? How can I solve it better? If they bring another thing, how can I still understand it and still add to it and still make what I'm developing for them efficient? So I'm going to stop there.
I think I'm going to go to the next question so that we can actually be able to answer most of the questions on the comment section. And one of the questions I have to ask is that how can one, we talked about having our projects on GitHub, about having an active LinkedIn. The one thing I have to ask is that how can a Power Platform developer excel? How can they excel in their role? And also, I understand that most persons on this call, most of them are not Power Platform developers. They are already working. So how can they use Power Platform to excel in their role? Yeah. Hi, Toby.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I'll take that. Okay. So how can they excel with the Power Platform? Like I said, the Power Platform is when you hear the Power Platform basically is for business users, right? And when I mean business users, is for the regular HR person, the finance person. Is for you to improve on your process. And you're saying, how can one, improve leveraging the Power Platform? I would say on all levels, and it's basically to help you improve your productivity, right? A very good example I give was a report line, right? When I joined my organization, there was a way things were being reported because you have a stand-up meeting where you report, you make report, you have a report and you submit what you've done or what you plan to do for the week and what you've done the previous week. And you also have stand-up meeting where you give updates on what has been done. And there was a manual way this reporting was being done. One person have to go through to meet everybody. But coming in, and this is not even a Power Platform project, right? This is just on a regular, this is a basic thing. I came in and I was asked to, the person that do handle that actually, was on leave for a while, and I was asked to come on. And I just leveraged simple Power Platform and I used OneNote. You can use other things, you can use maybe Word Online. But I decided to leverage OneNote because there's some features OneNote had that I also wanted to leverage. So I leveraged OneNote, put the report on OneNote, and with the Power Automate that notifies them every close of business every day, right? So that they could go themselves make those updates, or they can go by themselves to make those updates themselves. So previously, like I said, it was manual, so that somebody would need to either call or reach out to each person to get the updates. Then the person will now collect it, now present it. But with what I did, right, there was a notification that goes to everybody at the close of business, then every day, and with the link to where the updates, right? And each person is now tasked to make their own update, meaning now the person that would go and do the updates that are taking maybe the last 2 hours of the day to go and stand up and start looking for somebody up and down to do all of these updates doesn't need to do that anymore. What the person does is he just goes to that link, make his own updates. He doesn't even worry moving forward. Every other person is being notified close of business. So kindly make your update as as regards to this task that was accomplished ahead of tomorrow's stand-up meeting. And everybody gets that mail at the close of business every day. Everybody goes there, make their update. And like I will tell you, it was one of the first, that was one of the first things I did actually, and I was new. So that was one of the first things I did that blew everybody mind up. And in my mind, I'm like, this is actually a very simple solution. But yeah, I leverage Power Automate and OneNote. And that's the way Power Platform helps you in your role, in whatever you do. This is how Power Platform would help you. It helps you, increase your proficiency. Now, there's some things you do. Reporting is just one of the things I mentioned. A very good thing or a very good example is approvals. In an organization, I'm sure you have to report to somebody. If you want to make a purchase, you want to make a payment or do something, you need to get approval from somebody. It is still manual in a lot of work environment today. That is a very good and everything Power Platform. Now you need to reach your boss. You need to reach from your boss. Maybe you need to go to the CEO or go to a manager or all of that. You can automate all of those processes such that you the Power Platform just bring the Power Platform and you build different things like it's just simple automations, right? And you just have those process so seamless so that everybody can continue their normal tasks, but yet what needs to be done is being done, is still being prioritized. So these are just simple examples or practical examples that would help you or that can solve problems, right, in the business world. Now, moving on to core skills and knowledge you need to know to excel in Power Platform, which was the first question Rachel asked. They will tell you, at least when I started, I think what was in the documentation was once you know PowerPoint and Excel, you are good to go. And that is a basic tool for everybody. Right? Everybody uses, I believe everybody uses presenting PowerPoint. If you don't use the PowerPoint, I guess maybe you're using slides from Google, right? But my point is, you know how it works, right? Your PowerPoint, your presentation, you know how it works. And Excel is what, in short, if you're given any kind of, estimate, cost estimate of things like that, or things related to cost, you definitely would have done Excel sheet. And I believe everybody would have worked on Excel sheet. And the reason we use those two is because just to let you know that anybody can jump and anybody can excel on Power Platform. It just takes you to be serious, dedicated, and willing to learn. Right? You need to be serious, dedicated, and willing to learn. Because if you're not dedicated, you would that sometimes definitely you would hit some roadblocks, things are not good as you want. So at those points is your commitment to that learning, that will keep you going. If you're not willing to learn, you get to a stage where you just learn some few things, and because you're already building an application, you no longer want to put a listening ear and learn more. Because like I said, when I joined, there are things that I would say Power Platform couldn't do. But looking back right now, I'll say they can do them. But that's because I'm willing to learn. I've subject myself to learning. I've subject myself to checking out new things that come into the platform that can help us, that can help move the application solution to the next level. So with that, I believe you would be able to excel in that role. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Toby. Thank you very much for the question and for answering everything. Yeah, thank you. So we are going to move ahead to answer the questions on the comment section. But the first thing I'm going to say is that if you're interested in building your solution, the Power Platform Nigeria community, you are going to be able to demo your solution, and we are going to upload it on the community YouTube channel. So this is an encouragement for you to start building and also to start learning. And the Power Platform community, the Power Platform Nigeria community is available on WhatsApp, is available on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and also we're working on it, but it will soon be available on Twitter. So the next question I have to ask from the comment section is, okay, I'm interested in learning about how Power Platform can be effectively integrated with customer service roles. Okay. If any of our speakers would like to answer this question.
Okay, I'm just going to take that. Firstly, I'm not sure I understand how you or what you mean by saying effectively integrated with customer service roles. But I'm aware that there are customer service tools that Power Platform integrates with. So, for example, we have the Dynamics 365 and we have others, but I'm very comfortable and convenient and sure that the Power Platform integrates with the Dynamics 365. So, what integration are you looking at? And is it the tools or the roles you want to integrate with? Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just come on a bit on that. Um, just like or writing on what Vicky said, in the industry, yes, I know there are a lot of third party tools also. So because Vicky mentioned Dynamics 365 CRM, and some might be there wondering that, oh, what if the tool I use is not a Dynamics 365, right? It's not a Microsoft tool. I think Salesforce is actually very big in Nigeria when it comes to CRM, customer relation management. a lot of organizations already use Salesforce. Well, that's a good thing, right? I think recently there was an announcement that Microsoft did something together with Salesforce, which allows you to also integrate seamlessly. Or yeah, it has made integration seamless with all of these tools out here. So even if you use a normal third-party tool out there, right? The Power Platform is something that can integrate. It can also come in to help improve what you already have existing. Now, if you're asking as regards, oh, I sit in a customer service role, how can I leverage the Power Platform to help me myself? I mentioned something about the Power Virtual Agent, right? Which is for building chatbots. Now, I'm sure sitting in a customer service role, you will get calls on a regular, right? Making inquiries. And you would agree with me that some of those inquiries are the same thing over and over again. Why stress yourself when you can have a chatbot answer all of those for you, right? Takes that off your back and you can just integrate a chatbot. And you might now be worrying that, oh, I'm not a developer. If I go to meet my IT team, but then they are very busy, right? That's why you have Power Platform, Power Virtual Agents that allows you to build chatbots without coding. I'm serious, without coding. And if you want to code, right, you say, oh, I'm a developer person. There's a way to, sync all of those together. I won't go into details, but there's a way for you to sync all of those together. You can build, a chatbot, and with that, it eases, that stress, right? And the other tools I can build with the app as applications, right? The other tools you can build with Power Apps that will also help you, make your role seamless. You just need to look for those problems and check on the internet. I'm sure you would see it.
Thank you very much, Toby. Thank you very much, Victoria. So we have the next question, and it says, when is it best to use SQL as against SharePoint? So when is it best to use SQL as against SharePoint?
Okay, does someone jump on that one?
Okay, I'll start then you can add something. So,
All right.
firstly, I want to correct a notion. SharePoint is not a database. Yes, SharePoint is not a database. So, when is it best to use SharePoint as against SQL? When you have so many documents involved in your process automation. When you want to save documents, SharePoint is best for document management. Yes, SharePoint is not a database. SharePoint is best for document management. Thank you. I don't know if Toby or Lola was had something.
I recently, yeah, I wanted to just mention a program I attended recently. It was more like a battle between all of these databases, right? Talking about the Power Platform. So, which is actually the best, to leverage. By leveraging Power Platform with database is the best to use. And I would say it depends on the person no, there are some databases that are actually far better, right? So, but if you're talking about these two actually are one of the top ones, to use in the Power Platform. But if you are using Power Platform or Power Apps, right, which is best between SQL and SharePoint, to be sincere, hands down, SQL is always a better, database to use ahead of SharePoint, right? It's always a better database to use ahead of SharePoint, except, in terms of document management, as Vicky has said. But talking about the Power Platform as a whole, I would tell you that database will be one of the top, the best. Just browse about it, you will see reasons why. After database, I would mention SQL. And in short, why you leverage SQL is because it can take a lot of, you're buying all of those pieces and it can take a lot of information. SharePoint in a way is kind of, restricted. It's also not a relational database, right? It's not a relation, that is, if you're using SQL, you have what you call a primary key or foreign key. You can connect, you can have a model where you connect different data together. In SharePoint, we really don't have that. What we have is a workaround, right? It's a workaround. So SQL will be a better one, except in a scenario that has to do with documents. Thank you.
Yeah, so let me just add to that. So Victoria and Tobias said everything about that, but then please ensure you learn. So normally I'm an advocate for Dataverse, right? But whatever you do in the Power Platform, please ensure you learn how to use and manipulate SharePoint well. The reason is because most organizations would first look at how they can avoid buying licenses, right? So please ensure you know how to manipulate your ways in the using the SharePoint. Of course, all the other databases are better, way better than SharePoint, but learn how to use SharePoint, learn how to overcome all the challenges that SharePoint would at least throw at your face before you now, jump onto the better ones, because those ones you have to pay. SQL, that SQL or database, you have to pay, right?
Okay. Thank you very much, Lola and Toby. Okay, the last question we have for those who also asked their questions, the question you asked has already been answered on this section. So I'll advise you to actually rewatch because this will be recorded. It's already been recorded on the Power Platform Nigerian User Group YouTube channel. So when we end it, you can also rewatch this session. So the last question I have is, what is the job market like for entry-level professionals? Okay.
Okay, so job market like, okay, I think we also said something around this when we also started the call, and that was it's exponentially increasing, right? That's what I would tell you. It's increasing. Back then, you didn't even see anything like Power Platform as a job role, right? But now you see, number of roles coming in and asking you, "Oh, I'm looking for a Power Platform developer, someone that is focused on Power Platform." So for a entry level, I would say it's increasing. Maybe to be sincere, not as much as the data yet, right? I'm sure if you check out there, you see a lot of data roles. So it might not be as much as data, and that's because the knowledge of this is actually growing. Organizations are beginning to see the impact and they are beginning to adopt it. And as they adopt it, then they will definitely need more talent, more skilled professionals to come in on this role. So my answer to that would be it's in demand, but it's increasing. So not as much as the normal regular roles or core developer roles, but it's actually increasing as we progress.
Do any of our speaker have anything to say about it? Okay, I think I actually have something to say about this too. Is that job market for entry level professionals? You don't have to think about, especially for our listeners that are from Nigeria or Africa. You don't have to be limited about just looking for jobs in Nigeria. So also try to widen your horizon. Try to also apply for jobs, international jobs, and yeah, basically, and not just applying for jobs too. Maybe you're already working, so you can actually use Power Platform. You can introduce your company to Power Platform and let them know what they can achieve with Power Platform. So thank you very much, everyone, and thank you very much for listening to this session, for this Ask Me Anything section on the Power Platform User Group channel. Don't forget to subscribe. And also, as we said, don't forget to build your solutions with Power Platform. And we're going to be reaching out to you to actually upload them on this YouTube channel to give you more visibility. Yeah. So thank you, everyone. And thank you very much to our speaker and my co host, Amara.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you for having us.
Thank you everyone for
Bye.
joining.
Yeah. Bye. And see you in the next Ask Me Anything section.
Yeah, bye everyone.
Bye.